military leaders are
military seizure of power over suspect voter fraud claims.
The country's leader, Aung San Suu Kyi,
quasi-democratic rule
with a one-year state of emergency.
On February 1st, 2021, the Myanmar Armed Forces Tatmadaw, led by General Min Aung Hlaing, took control of the country in a coup. This coup followed the November 2020 general election, in which the National League for Democracy (NLD) party led by Aung San Suu Kyi won a landslide victory. Before we go any further, what is a coup? A coup is an act of overthrowing the power of someone who is authorized by illegal means and even brutal, unconstitutional in the form of taking power, overthrowing the power of state government by attacking through strategic, tactical, political action, the legitimacy of the government and then intending to accept the transfer of power from the overthrown government. A coup will be successful if it can first consolidate in establishing legitimacy as the consent of the people and gain the support of civilian and military parties, army. Usually, military coups are used when there is a lack of confidence in the current government. Of course, this is also experienced by Myanmar. The state process that occurs in Myanmar is currently experiencing change and developments in the country. This is not the first time Myanmar has experienced a coup since its independence in 1948. Looking at history in recent years, the Myanmar military has a more dominant role in political life. The country's leaders since independence in 1948 have been people with military backgrounds. The military has often used violence with overwhelming force to overthrow governments. Military coups in the lands of 1,000 pagodas are a dark history for Myanmar even today. It was not that the coup was a recurring coup, where in the course of its history the Myanmar military or Tatmadaw often took power. The first coup in Myanmar occurred on March 2, 1962, at the time of the start of the one-party government and the political dominance of the army in Burma, now Myanmar, which lasted 26 years. The second coup in Myanmar occurred in 1988, or commonly known as the 80-80 Uprising or People Power Rebellion. The third phase is a new round of the coup crisis that occurred in Myanmar and continued even until 2021. The military has been in power in Myanmar for the last 60 years, and the military remains the key holder in taking over the government of Myanmar. The 2021 coup came after the general election on November 8, 2020, in which the National League for Democracy won 396 out of 476 seats in parliament, a larger margin of victory compared to 2015 elections. The military party, the Union Solidarity and the Development Party won only 33 seats. Myanmar's coup began on February 1, 2021 when State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, President Win Myint and several leaders from the ruling party were detained by the Myanmar military. Hours later, the Myanmar Armed Forces declared a state of emergency and said that power had been handed over to the military commander-in-chief Min Aung Hlaing. The military, which has ruled the country for the past 60 years, can still be the dominant party in a country's government. Seen with the defeat of the 2020 election event, the Myanmar military has suspicion and considers the final result of the election to be fraudulent. As stated earlier, the Myanmar military didn't accept its defeat in the 2020 election. Its affiliate party, the Union of Solidarity and the Development, lost badly to the National League. From this, it can be concluded that the Myanmar coup by the military occurred not for reason of fraud, but rather an effort by the Myanmar military to maintain its existence or influence. If in the end the military party lost to the National League, they will have to wait 5 years to get another chance. However, The military will remain an important factor in every issue and remain hungry for power. This time the coup was accompanied by a curfew police, internet disconnection, crowd restriction, deployment of armored vehicles and the use of violence to suppress protests. Even more worrying was the presence of the 77 Light Infantry Division in reveling the protests. It is this division that has been blamed for the mass execution of the ethnic Rohingya in Rakhine in 2017. Abuse of power aside, until more than 2 weeks into the military's rule, there have been no actual reports of casualties on the protester side. Violence during the protest has decreased compared to the previous military junta. Special envoy Christian Burgener has warned the deputy head of Myanmar's military junta that any act of violence against the people will have severe consequences and the international community is watching. This warning is crucial to protect the security of the people of Myanmar, especially since it was delivered through a channel of communication that is usually very rare between the junta and the outside world. This could be a bright spot. The mediation is still possible as long as the Myanmar military is willing to open communication with the outside world. In response to the coup, Myanmar citizens took to the street and staged demonstrations demanding the restoration of democracy, the release of political prisoners, and respect for human rights. The demonstration received widespread support both domestically and from the international community. The military government responded to the protests with violence. The military used excessive force, shot the demonstrators, detained thousands of people, and committed other human rights violations. The situation in Myanmar became increasingly tense and bloody, with conflict between the military and civil resistance movement escalating. From the problems that have been explained, there are several solutions that can be done to overcome the problem of military coups in Myanmar. First, there must be international pressure. The international community, including ASEAN, should increase political and economic pressure on the Myanmar military to get them back on the path of democracy. International pressure can help to resolve the conflict as quickly as possible and avoid harsh measures against civilians. 2. Communication between the military and activists. The military should communicate with all parties, including pro-democracy activists, political party leaders, and other members of society to forge understanding and find a peaceful solution to the problem. 3. Establishment of a transitional government. The formation of an internationally recognized interim transitional government can help to restore political stability and security in Myanmar. This government should consist of experienced civilian figures, including political party leaders, pro-democracy activists, and respected members of society. The solution can't be achieved if all parties don't participate in it. We hope our solution or suggestion are acceptable. Thank you for attention.